On tonight's episode of the Rockhound Channel, we're taking care of some mystery black sands I found underneath a tarp. We're going to run it over there on the gold cube. Let's go. Alright guys, we got all the hard work all done. As our end result, man, there was quite a bit in that bucket. And of course she split open on the bottom, so I may have to go out there and scrape off what's at the top of the soil. But this kind of looks like already like panned material. So hopefully there's some shiny in here. Let's go find out. Alright, fire it up. Here we go. Alright, you guys, I went ahead and put in a little bit of our rinse aid in there, so that way we know that gold is guaranteed to drop down onto our mini mat. So let's get started. Our first scoop today. Yes. Here we go. Put that all up in there. Yeah. Yes. Alright. You know how this goes. I'll come back to you guys when I see the first flakes. I was beginning to wonder whether or not I did a fantastic job at panning this. But apparently not. I got one sitting there, and I saw two more that escaped down into the bottom of the box. So she is sitting in tray one. Those guys are. Alright guys, so we had some luck here thus far. I had to reconcentrate the stuff. We have a few sitting in the bottle here, and it's been very sporadic. So I may have went through this once before, so fingers crossed guys. Maybe I'll have a couple more in here, and there's some that's going to be down here. So guys, we're almost near the end of this. What I got in here thus far, like I said, it's been super sporadic. We're going to quick zoom in and show you there. I got three tiny little bits. Boy, I hope there's a bunch more sitting in that box. Guys, we are inching ever so closely to the end of the bin. We had a few flakes pop up, and we got a few sitting up here. In the pan, we got a big guy that showed up. So we're going to continue kicking this out. We're going to finish this up. Let this run for about 10 to 15 minutes. And then we're going to go ahead and see what's in the mini mat. And down here in tray one. Alright guys, we officially came to the bottom of the bin. Everything's in the gold cube. We're going to go ahead, let this run for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and shut down and take a look at this mini mat, and then we're going to go check out tray one here, and we'll see what the heck we got going on. Ooh, I hope there's some sitting down here. So guys, we only have two tiny little micro colors that came out the mini mat. We're about to go ahead, start on tray one, and I'll show you guys that here in just a minute. So guys, tray one was zip zilch nada. So we're going to go ahead, run over here to tray two just to have a gander at it, just in case it slipped down there. Well, there you guys have it. Wasn't totally skunked on the shiny. But boy, do I got something really strange to show you guys. As soon as the cons dry out, I'm not sure what I've got, and I'm going to need help from the audience. So hang tight guys. This is the one that was really neat. I had a look at this with the jeweler's loupe, and this guy, if I can get it to focus, super bright. That guy there has got a bit of rust or something of that nature on it in the far corner right about there. The one that's next to it is kind of strange too. Not sure, it looks like it's got a bit of silver to it. And that guy right there that's almost center is also strange. It looks like it's got some kind of, doesn't look like it was hammered or weathered at all. It looks like it popped right out of a chunk of quartz. Then we got that guy there. He's basically a straight up bead, which is very, very odd. And if this is the case, then maybe it will make sense when you guys see the concentrates from the mats. And I'll show you that in just a moment. So guys, right now I've got the concentrates. Gosh, you can even see it on the camera. Just that silver. But we're gonna go ahead. I got the concentrates sitting in a pan on the hot plate. We're gonna dry these off real quick, like. Then we're gonna examine them on my Spiegelio over here, on my little magnifier, and we're gonna see. I'm hoping that you guys can see what I'm seeing on the jeweler's loupe. Alright guys, here we are. This is the material after I took it through 400 mesh, and this is what was left on top of that. And gosh, I'm kind of flabbergasted. I'm seeing bits of what looks to be pyrope or Albertine garnet. There's all sorts of different just strange colors that's coming out of here. Look at that. There's a beautiful yellow one in there. A green guy. Look at the garnets that's coming out of here. So I am almost dead certain on this. I'm not going to put my hand on 110% positive, but I'm going to say this is not coming out of the Wisconsin. So I'm going to say this probably came out of a creek that Brandon and I visited along our many years doing this work. So it is going to be well worth my time. Look at all the garnets. Just loads of them. Gosh, if they were only the size of my fist, right guys? Goodness gracious. Just beautiful pinks. I've got reds in there. I got some greens and yellows. Goodness gracious. Look at all that. So, we're going to have a gander at some of this later on. I'm going to probably try to... Oh, look at that one. That one's almost perfect. Look at that. It's got beautiful grossular shapes to it. But what I'm thinking here, and this is just my hypothesis on this, I'm thinking this here, the majority of this is lead, silver, galena. It's gotta be. And some of them, as you can see, are just packed full of values. This stuff absolutely would not kick loose out of the pan. No matter how hard I tried, it just would not come loose. Look at all the color. Absolutely beautiful in here. So I'm going to set this stuff aside, pick out the garnet so I can show Brandon that. My gosh, I don't know what to think. That is absolutely awesome. So I'm going to show him all this and see if whether or not he can pick his brain and try to figure out where we were that day when we got this. My goodness. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at that gold now. And, yeah, I'm thinking this is possibly silver lead galena. That's absolutely super rich in there. Absolutely gorgeous. God, I just can't get over the colors. Alright, let's take a look at that gold. Alright guys, I tried once again on the cell phone to put it up against the magnifier, and it just got super blurry. But I'm going to go ahead and grab the jeweler's loupe now and see if whether or not I can get this to do what I needed to do here. So give me just a second. So guys, I did try that. It didn't quite work out. So I am just flabbergasted at this. So there's that chunk of gold. And you can clearly see it is pronounced. And then my little bead right there. I'm just clueless. Wherever this was, we are definitely going back there. Because, holy cats, if it's coming out with those kind of heavies like this, we had to have been super close. Super close to some kind of a pay streak. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead just to suit my curiosity, because this stuff's super weighty. I took about 30 minutes to pull the garnet out of here, and what I could that just, whatever I could see that didn't look like it had values. We're going to go ahead and weigh it up and see what we got. So that stuff almost hit 62 grams. That is insane. So whatever is in this, it is super valuable. So we're going to go ahead, put that back into our goofy jar that I got. I marked it down. I said to put it on there. No clue where we got this, but at least we know it's silver lead galena. Oh boy. Boy, I hope he knows where we got it. Alright guys, so I'm going to turn around and I'm going to show you some of our oddballs that Brandon and I have discovered. Just a couple. And I'm going to carefully go through those and where we found them, since we're already on the topic of odd things. So I'll be right back with those. So guys, when it comes down to oddities, Brandon and I are no strangers to finding the one-offs, the oddballs, the ones that leave us scratching our heads. And I'm going to show you just a few that are in here and explain some of them. Now these are throughout the years that him and I have been out rock hounding, and that's where we all started out. We were both just rock hounds out, just digging up gemstones and gorgeous rocks and such. So we're just going to go right on down to the very weird ones that I've got. So this one here, let me start with this guy. So this guy was a unique one that I discovered. It was one of my first ones that I found in Baraboo. And it was kind of stuck in the embankment of the Baraboo River. So I was not sure what it was. And a colleague of mine thought maybe it was smithonite. So that's what we're going to probably say that this is. It does fluoresce from what I'm understood. We're going to go ahead and show you that in another clip here. So that's one of them. So let's go start off with this guy. So this dude right here, I'm almost certain on this is turquoise or possibly malachite. This was discovered during another one of those off the wall trips to Reedsburg, just outside of Reedsburg at I believe it was like just a roadside area. And I saw this again sticking out in the gravels, and I picked it up. And I went ahead and I cut some of this, just a little bit, and tried to polish it up, and it looked beautiful green. Then of course we got this guy. It's not too far from that area. This here, as you can see, that there is a chunk of garnet. This was found just outside in a rock pile that was just outside of Baraboo and Reedsburg. I went and visited a farmer out there just to kind of pick around through his piles that he pulled from his farmer's field. And man alive, I was shocked to see this in the sunlight. I snatched that up real quick. I'm thinking that's a grossular garnet. And I'm pretty sure this is schist host. And then we got this guy. I found this on that very same day. A crazy lace agate. And that was just kind of hanging out in the dirt just like that. I washed it up, and that's what I found. Here's one that Brando had found. And this here, as you see from the front side, is what the stone looked like. And then he brought it over to me, and he goes, gosh, there's something goofy about it. So we went ahead and took it on the saw and cut her down, and boy, was he right to pick this one out. That there is, I believe, what they call Chinese writing. And it's just basically chunks of, I believe, like a feldspar or even maybe a tourmaline that's in it. Absolutely stunning stone. And he found that just on his way back home or headed to work. Now, let me see here. Where else do I want to go with this? Oh, of course, we got to go with these. So these here are some crystalline ones that we discovered over at a place called Abelman's Gorge. And I went ahead and I sawed some of this up just to kind of see what was going on in there. And if you can kind of look, there's a glint of gold in there. Can you see it there? Look at that. Absolutely amazing find. I imagine this one's probably got a bunch of it. It's got the silver galena in it all throughout. I thought that was super cool. And then we got this guy. This one is going more towards Baraboo. This was found back in 03 and 05, and this is quartzite, pegmatite, coming out of a place called Williams Quarry. But what made this very interesting is that all the pegmatite that I was discovering there was all got this burnt stuff in it, and it's all throughout the crystal, just pockmarked with it all. Here's some more of this crystalline stuff that we got. As you can see here, this one's all burnt up too. This here is coming again out of Abelman's Gorge. And this one had a huge, huge cap on it. Now, I think I discussed this one a few episodes ago. And this is just half of that quartz cap that we found, that big chunk of that silver galena. And that's just some of it on the top of that. And this is its mate, I believe, yes. Yes. Right here, I think. There's an area, if I'm correct. Or was it this guy? Ah, it's this guy. See, there it is. That's how it popped out of there. You can clearly see where it kind of stuck in there. That was absolutely cool to find that. This is another piece of that crystalline stuff I didn't clean up. I had this sitting over there in my rock garden, and I had to bring it in. But absolutely stunning stuff. And then we got some cool stuff that's coming just outside of Abelman's Gorge. This here is a beautiful piece of terminated, double terminated quartz and quartzite crystals. A big old cluster of them. Absolutely beautiful. And we find several ones like that. We got this guy right here. As you can see, if I get it in light, there's bits of gold in there too. Just a tiny little pock marks in there, just stuck in there. decided to keep this one just as it is as a specimen. I thought that was so cool. This is one that Brando found. This one was really neat. This was a great day to be out. The sun was just right. It was hitting the side of the hill. He dug this up out of the clay. He saw these little shiny bits, and we brought it home, got the clay all up out of it, and turned it into this stunning piece. Absolutely gorgeous. So next I've got, let's see here. Oh, of course, this is another lucky find that I discovered, and this was just down below Brandon at that same hill. And this was over in Rock Springs, and it's the only smoky quartz I have ever seen there. Absolutely stunning. You can see all the Formica books in there. Absolutely incredible. And we got this guy. This was found in the Walmart parking lot. I'm not kidding. This was over at the Walmart parking lot in Baraboo. Absolutely stunning piece. Beautiful purple color to it. Nice banding. I've wanted to cut this, and I just can't put my heart to it yet. It's just so beautiful the way it is. And now we're going to go into some really weird ones. This here is a chunk of what can only be slag. I can't think of this being lava stone. There's an area at the Wisconsin River where this stuff is being washed out of the sand. And each one of these chunks that I've got here, these two here, this one here is roughly about 1/2 pound. It is just way heavy. Here's another one. And this guy here is absolutely insane. Look at all the iron that's stuck in that. At least I think that's iron. Absolutely beautiful. We're going to probably turn around and crush these guys up as soon as we get our hands on a jaw crusher. This here is some of the sandstone that we come across out there all the time. And every time we see it, we bring it home because we know this stuff is going to probably have values in it. And that's just pockmarked with iron sands. It's in there, black sands. Now, I'm going to show you some real oddballs. So these two here are our first meteorites him and I ever discovered. This guy here was just outside of Baraboo. This one, I believe he found when we were out walking. I can't remember. I'll have to ask him. But that sucker's really weighty. And this guy is the one that I discovered. Ironically, outside of his very first apartment he had in the Dells. I was out rock hounding once again near a farmer's field and saw what looked to be like as if something hit the ground. And I went ahead and dug out this from there. And you see it's clearly metal. Look at that. And the striations on there is unlike anything. I thought at first it was like a goofy bolt just from that knob on there. No way. The striations on here are tight but uneven. Super cool stuff. Now, some of our premium stones that we discovered along the way. And I wanted to show these for last. This beauty right here was one of Brando's very first finds there at Abelman's Gorge in Rock Springs. Absolutely stunning crystal, and it just cleaned up beautifully. And he found this in some white clay that's up there in this area. Absolutely gorgeous. And then I wasn't too far behind him. I discovered this guy. So he was digging above me. I was just below him in the same area. And this one popped out of that same area. Absolutely stunning. Beautiful quartz crystals. And then, of course, I've got my very first, and I went ahead and I cut this because I just couldn't resist it. My very first roadside rose quartz that I ever discovered along Highway 33. I found this beautiful bauble. It was just a cap, so imagine something like this sticking up out of the roadway in the gravels. And I turned around and turned it into a beautiful freeform gemstone. And then I've got another parking lot find. This here is super cool. I discovered this just outside, I believe that was Home Depot, I think. Home Depot. It was just hanging out in some of the stonework there. And I quick yanked that home. And I'd taken a, you know those things that you use for finishing and polishing your headlamps? This is what I used on it with some water. And I went and polished it up as best as I could. This was before I had a lapidary machine. And that turned out really neat. I think this one actually fluoresces. We'll see this one in a little bit. So there's just a few of the oddballs that Brandon and I come across, and there's hundreds. We come across just tons of different things along the way. All right, you guys, you're about to go on a trippy show. Here we go. Have a gander at all that. These are just some of the super cool minerals and relics that Brando and I discovered along the way. And I'm going to go through each one of these real careful like in just a minute. Alright, first up is Crazy Lace Agate. I want you guys to take a look at that real quick. Look at the greens that are coming off in here. This here is another piece of Crazy Lace Agate. This one here is imbued with amethyst. And the guys next to it right here is pieces of amber. Yes, I said amber. Ain't that cool? Then we got a piece of cornflake chalcedony. This stuff derives from New Mexico near Roswell. A good friend of mine, Eric, had donated this to the Rockhound channel, and I couldn't wait to show it off on a shortwave UV show. So we got here. This here is called Starburst. I believe it is in the selenite family. This is absolutely cool. A cool fact about this one and the guy right there, is if you hit these with super bright light and then shut them off in the dark, they glow green. They are absolutely astounding. Next up, we got some cool chalcedony over here. This is a different kind that we discovered in the Dells along the Wisconsin River. I thought that was super cool stuff. Then we got some fluorite here. This is natural stuff coming out of limestone. And this one came from Montello. I thought those were super cool, iridescent kind of light blue crystals. The sun finally got to it a little bit on me. We got some super cool stuff here. This is another one that Brando found. He didn't think it was anything too much until we hit it with the shortwave UV light. That one there, I believe, is another kind of limestone or possibly a jasper. Next up on the list, this one's a mystery oddball, but this one's got green bits in it and purple bits and blue bits. We're not sure what it is, but we know it's got a little bit of granite in it. Here are some petrolite. This is cool stuff. We got this online from a guy. I thought that was super cool. My wife turned around and put this in a beautiful resin globe so I could show it off on the display case out there in the lapidary shop. There's that Chinese Redding. Look at how iridescent green that stuff is. Isn't that super cool? Next up, we got that goofy one that I found in the parking lot. And this is kind of neat. It actually does a blue in there. So that's something new I didn't know about. This here, it's not so much. There's that turquoise. It doesn't really fluoresce much. But there are some out there that do fluoresce pink. This here is a bit of dragon's blood. Not too interesting, but there are bits of crystal that do fluoresce in it. Here's that super cool one that I discovered over there at Home Depot. Look at that. Isn't that neat? I knew that sucker fluoresced. Coming down here, we got some beautiful labradite. And this one here was done up in an egg, the best of my ability. If I can just get it to do what it's supposed to do. There it goes. Kind of neat. That's some more of it. That's just a free-form cut. And then another one that I did up in kind of sort of like a baguette. Next up, we got ourselves some cool eggs over here. These here are from my cousin. And I couldn't believe these. These are absolutely cool. They actually fluoresce all over the place on these. And I'm guessing some of these are jasper, which is super cool. Next one down here. Oh, of course, I got to show these ones real quick. These are super cool. So there's that other one. That one does a whole bunch of different pinks and such in there. I thought that was really neat. This here is selenite. This, just like the chalcedony over here in the Starburst, this stuff is the same way. If you hit this with a super bright light and then shut it off in the dark, these glow iridescent green. They're absolutely neat. This here is some different, this is actually rock salt. This is that Himalayan rock salt stuff. And it does have some fluorescent properties to it, but not so much. Next, we got some more interesting oddballs. We don't know what that is. Next is jade. Jade does have some iridescence to it. It depends on what kind of jade. Here we have zoisite with ruby, which is super cool, and I got some more of that here just coming up. This here is another piece of that kind of Himalayan salt that my wife has in her crafts that she sets up in resin. And then right up above it, there is that weird stone that I discovered, and my colleague states is, I believe, smithonite. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over. You guys can see some of those cool crystals. And it does fluoresce. The sun finally got to it, though, I think. But these used to fluoresce iridescent blue and purple green. Next up, we got ourselves some fluorites. There's an octahedral. There's another one. There's a cool one. I like these. Fluorite is one of the coolest things out there. There's another super cool one. Look at that. There's another purple one right there in the center of your screen. Some cubicle. Some multicolor there. And then a big chunk that Eric once again donated to the channel. And this one is also coming out of the mines of New Mexico. Let's adjust myself a little bit here. Next, we got some unique stuff here. This is, I believe, sodalite. This is kind of a unique one that I found in Wisconsin. I believe this was, gosh, I think near Stevens Point, just outside of Stevens Point. I thought that was super cool. There we have some lapis lazuli. Absolutely stunning colors that sits in there. That's one that I worked on, and this is what it looks like unfinished. Alright. Now we're going to go ahead and jump on over here to some super cool ones. These here, once again, are some zoisite with ruby, and these are gemstone rubies. Take a look at those, guys. Isn't that incredible? Then, of course, last but not least, these are some funky ones that we found along the way, and I'm not sure about these ones. But I had hit these up. These were kind of cool, coming out of some of the last Inside Bend Scoop and Go. And these were all up in the bucket when I hit it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to collect those. And I saved the best for last. This here, I believe, is some kind of iridium glass. These are old chunks of bottles from way, way back in the day. Now, rumor has it that Absinthe used to do this to bottles as well. So it's kind of neat. This was I was collecting glass so I could turn around and kind of cut them up into beads. And I never could have guessed that these simple little pieces were going to do this in a shortwave UV light. And we're back once again into the beautiful light. Gosh, my basement shop is creepy when it's dark. So here are all those minerals that you guys got to see with the Lone Fire shortwave UV light, and with a couple hard mentions as well. These here, this is another one that is super cool. I did up, this is Asian Dragon's Blood. I had forgot it was sitting up on my shelves in my lapidary shop. So as I said before, we got all sorts of different kinds of fluorite, various numbers to choose from, multicolors, blues, purples, greens, even the iridescent blue one, which I got over at a jewelry shop. We got ourselves some of that Himalayan salt. This was another one that I found that was super cool that I forgot to put into the mix. This here is rhodochrosite. Beautiful pink rings in there. This also does iridesce sometimes. It depends on the type of mineral and how rich it is. Then we got ourselves that beautiful, that's our lapis lazuli. This is one that I finished up. Real nice, like, look at that beautiful gold flake. There it is, it's unfinished. And then, of course, we got our eggs here. There's our labradorite. There's our small little baguette. And then we got our cool petrolites. There's our cool jade. Our awesome amber. And there's our version of Dragon's Blood. This is what it looks like when it's polished. This is some of the same stuff right here. And here are all those amazing rubies you guys saw just absolutely blast you with that pink and red. There is that zoisite right there from Brazil. I had to pick up because boy, oh boy, does that stuff polish absolutely beautiful. And I'll show you guys that stuff hopefully later on in a lapidary video. We can't wait to get back out there. As soon as the temperatures get back up to normal, we can get on that shop and start cutting some beautiful gemstones. Oh, I can't wait to get into those. There's some cool mentions here too. This here is a multicolored tourmaline. These also do fluoresce. It depends on the type. There's another kind of tourmaline right there. That's a yellow. And of course, we got our relics here. This is that iridescent glass you guys got to see. And there are all of our oddballs. So it may be absolutely horrible of a rock hound if I didn't give you guys 3 amazing books that every rock hound should probably have in their library, or at least by their bedside. So first and foremost, we have right here from the National Audubon Society. This is their field guide to rocks and minerals. This thing has got tons of minerals, different ores, and they are all in full color pages, as you can see here. Absolutely beautiful. And each one of these is going to have an illustration with a explanation of where to find them and what they look like. Next one is obviously the Rockhounds Handbook. This guy right here is another one that I absolutely enjoy. This goes through all of the listings of things that you need to be a rockhound. The next one up is the Minerals Encyclopedia. This is one of my newest ones that I picked up for both Brandon and I. It's got over 700 different minerals in it, and these things are always expanding. There's always constantly people finding new stuff out there. Who knows? Maybe it'll be you out there. Like I said, this one also, once again, has beautiful illustrations, full color photos, and an explanation of where to find them and what to look for. So guys, I would be remiss if I did not turn around and tell you and recommend two incredible gentlemen to also watch on YouTube. One is JeffWilliams.com. AskJeffWilliams.com. This gentleman has got an incredible book. It's called Where to Find Gold, and you can get that at AskJeffWilliams.com. The other is going to be Chris Ralph, Professional Prospector. He is an incredible individual. He gives out instructional videos just like I do. And his book is called Fistful of Gold, and it's at OutbackGems.com. And I will set that up on the thing below. Oof. Oh. Finally, I can sit down. Oh. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us until the end. I sure hope you guys enjoyed those incredible minerals. And I tell you what, this episode was kind of interesting considering that I really don't even know where this stuff came from. So I'm going to be picking Brando's brain on that, and we're going to hopefully get out to this spot if he can remember it. And once again, I want to also let you guys know I'm going to go ahead and put a link to those two YouTube channel creators and their incredible books that they have. And also where you guys can find those books that I showed you on rock hounding. All three of those can be found on, I believe it is Amazon, and they're not too badly priced. So they're definitely something you want in your library whenever you're going out rock hunting. So until next time, guys, if you're new to my channel, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to ring that notification bell and make certain you're getting all the updates. 2025 is looking pretty good so far. The gold is on the rebound, and I think we're going to be hitting some good spots. So please be sure to share this video with your friends and family. And guys, come along with us on the adventure. Every Sunday and Monday, we're going to be doing more and more episodes as we continue on. And oh boy, I can't wait for these waters to come down. The weather's finally showing us a little bit of a reprieve here in Wisconsin. So I cannot wait to get out there. So until next time, guys, this is William with the Rockhound channel saying, I'll see you guys next time.